So today we're going to be trying to like replicate what's it called, this sort of design, and try to also animate it. I think that's the missing factor currently. I've really not gone ahead to like start animating stuff and making things move, because I feel like motion just brings a sort of wow factor to your website. If you are to like do it properly, it brings like a really good wow factor to your website. So which is why we're going to like try to integrate motion and all those things into this particular design. So for now, I think we're going to be going with this particular one here. Why I'm going to be going with this one is because I feel like it has more room for me to play around with has more room for me to play around with interactions, motion, and all those good stuff. So yeah, I'm going to be going with this particular one here, or maybe this one. So either one of them. So like yeah, let's go with this one. Let's go with this one. So we're going to like make it like a sequence. So it's going to go from this loading state. So ideally, this feels like the logo. This feels like a logo to me, and I just chose to go ahead with it. So I'm going to be using this as a logo, and then I'm going to be using it's going to move from this state then to this state and then to this state. How it's going to all pan out, I don't know yet, but we're going to like find out on this call. Let me be sure this is recording. So in case you don't know, my name is Emisho Victor, and I'm a product designer currently trying to transition into web design, and I also try to share my process as to how I achieve some of these designs, and also the interaction, most importantly the interactions as well. So in case you're new here, I have a channel where I upload all the older design sessions. Just go on YouTube and search for Emisho Victor, and you find Emisho Victor, and you find all the other design videos there. We've done 3D, we've done we've done other website animations, and then we've done like a couple of really cool stuff. So in case you want to learn about all of that, you can just go on this site and go to this Emisho Victor, the one that has my funky looking face here. Then you find all the videos under the video tab. So we have like 9 or so that we've done so far, so good. So you can just catch up with them and have fun exploring. So that's that, by the way. So let's get to this work. So ideally, how this whole thing all started was I was looking for inspiration online, and then I just like found came across like a couple of websites that I tried to like use for try to like get inspired from. So ideally, I think these days I've been seeing like websites that really like play around with like huge typography. I keep saying they lot like huge typography. Where I go for sites, where I go for inspiration first of all is actually like Godly. I go on godly.website. So let me paste the link in case you're not familiar with their game. Let me paste the link in the chat. So yeah, normal godly.website. Just go there, and then you find like really cool sites that you can get inspired from. There's also awards, or words like all with the 3 triple W, and then awards.com. So you can go there as well, and then you find really cool stuff. In case you're whatever, I think awards is better in that regard, because awards helps you like really categorize what you're looking for. So in case you're looking for, okay, you know what I'm looking for today is 3D websites, you can go there and just search for inspiration, search for 3D websites, and then you find really cool stuff. Although there's always sites of the day. In case you're not familiar with their stuff, there's a site of the day, like a site that has like that day's awards. You can view the site here and then just see what it's all about. So in case you're looking for something to be inspired by, go on awards and search for it. So I'm not looking for 3D website now, although I had looked for before. So today I'm going to be looking for like typography. Let me see typography website. Okay, let's see what we can get from it. How come I'm not signed in? Okay, I'm signed in. So let's see what we can get. In case I go off, sorry, my network is probably bad. Okay, let me see if I'm still on. Okay, cool. So let's search for typography website and see what can come out of it. So like I said, awards is better because awards actually allows you search for stuff. Although Godly is also good because it actually categorizes them like large type. Okay, yeah, large type. So you can search for large type. However, if you don't find what you're looking for here, it's hard for you to search because there's really literally no search button. Anyway, there's just these categories here. I think there's a search button. No, there's none. So you can only find like styles. You can only look through the styles here, although it helps, but then it's not as powerful as if you had the search option. So what I'm looking for is like large typography, like I said, large type. So let's see what we have. So we see a couple of like really cool looking websites. I think this was one of them I gathered for like I referred to for inspiration. However, one of the major one I really like drew inspiration from was Zagno. Am I pronouncing it correctly? JNO. Let me paste in the chat as well. Paste the website in the chat. So Zagno.com. So there is a design agency. Like I said, people ask me like, oh, how do you get inspired? I basically follow like lots of design agencies. I follow design agencies, designers as well, that are trying to constantly push the boundaries, the limits of what can be done both on the web, both on mobile, and both with 3D as well. So that's where I really get inspiration. I get to feed my eyes. I get to be like motivated by the works I see, and I just try to like pick up from that and try to like follow in their footsteps, and one design at a time. As long as you're doing one thing at a time, you're going to like improve in that regard. So let me stop, hide. Okay, yeah. So while the website is loading up, I'm going to copy the link and paste it in the chat. So in case you want to visit and see what they have to offer. Where is it? Okay. So Zagno.com. So that's where I went to, and then I found like inspiration for the huge typography and whatnot. Although there's still tons of other websites that actually play with the whole huge type thing, but I think one of the ones I really looked at was that particular Zagno. There's tons of other ones. I can't really start going through them now, but basically I'm just like showing my general process as to how I approach looking for sourcing for inspiration, and also where I find inspiration as well. So there's also this one, Kusto.com. I think I showed this one in the last design session. Kusto.com. I'm pasting all the links here in the chat so that in case you need to visit any one of them at any point in time, you can always refer back to them. So Kusto.io, yeah, Kusto.io. So let's see what we have here. So there's really nothing. Let's not waste time too much on this one. But basically, go on godly.com and go on what you find tons of cool websites there. So Zagno.com still loading. Let's ignore it and just move on. So basically, how I start. Let's start from scratch again. I'm going to create a frame. I'm going to move to a new page first. So I'm going to create a frame. I'm going to be adding a desktop frame. That's the desktop frame, 1440 by 1024. However, I give the sermon every single time I try to like do this design session. That's ideally this is the this is the frame that Figma gives you as a desktop frame. However, I try to like shrink the height of mine to 810 because I want it to like sit perfectly on the 16 by 9 aspect ratio. So I've talked about this. I just prefer 16 by 9 aspect ratio. I don't know what aspect ratio this one is, 1440 by 1024, but then I prefer the one of 1440 by 810. If you want to like learn about the whole aspect ratio thing, go to my old videos. You're going to see me talk about them a lot. So basically, I'm just going to shrink. If I were to also be using 1920 by 1080, 1920, it's still going to be on the 16 by 9 aspect ratio. And again, if I were to shrink the height, because the width and the height are locked currently. So if I were to shrink the height to 9, you're going to see the width drop to 16, which is actually what I'm talking about, the 16 by 9 aspect. It's just like a standard widescreen aspect ratio. So that's why I go with it. I just like it. It looks good and it frames content really good. However, if as the design grows, I can actually stretch it down. But I start with this first because this is like this is like my canvas I start with, and then as it grows I can just go I can just stretch it down even more. So yeah, that's the whole point. So someone was asking me, oh, why do you do this and all of that. So I start with this, but if need be, I actually stretch it down. But ideally, I want my hero section to like sit on this perfect aspect ratio, and I'm just doing the landing page, the hero section, so it doesn't really matter. You don't really need to stretch it down even more. So what I want to do first is to add the grid. So if you're not familiar with the grid thing, the grid just helps like place content properly in your design. So you don't see me just throw content everywhere. I don't just place content, although I can't actually place content anywhere, but I feel like that's because I've actually internalized the whole grid thing and everything. So it feels easier for me as someone who has like used it over time and time after to use to place content on in my design screen. But if you're not, this is how it typically goes. So basically, I'm just going to click on the frame and press layout grid here, the layout grid option. Press plus on it, and then it's going to add I don't know what kind of grid it's called by default, a grid. It's called a grid. So it adds this sort of grid by default, and I'm going to just change from this kind of grids into columns instead. So you can click on this icon here and then click on this grid, change to columns instead. So I want column grid. So I'm going to change to the count to 6. So these values are not they are not meant to be they're not meant to be just one. You can actually use any kind of grid number you get. However, I feel like the standard one is, I think there's this whole argument about 12 column grid being the ideal one for web design, but this particular one I have like leeway to like play around with grid structure. So I'm going to use 6 for the count, and then I'm going to, for the margin, I'm going to use 40. I think, was it 40 I used? Let me check just to be sure. Well, I can actually use anything, but I just want to use, like, replicate what I have there as well. So 40 for the, what's it called? 40 for the margin. So margin at the space is this space here and here. That's the margin. Then a gutter, I want to make it 40 as well. You can make it anything, really. All these things you can make it anything. You can play around with your values. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to be like using the ones I used. So now that is done, we have our grid set. So basically, how you're supposed to use the grid is that everything inside of this. So I just another thing, you can also change the color of the grid. In case you don't like this color, you want another color, you can change it to another color instead, to green, whatever you want to. That's just entirely up to you. So how you're supposed to use the grid is that don't let any content. I don't want to say don't let any content fall on in the gutter, but ideally start by placing like major elements within the confines of this these columns. So ideally you should not be allowing like your content maybe end here. Your content should not ideally end here. Anything you're placing any major element you're placing in your design should not just be hanging on hanging a thin air. It should actually be spanning grids column to column. So by column to column, I mean if you want something to take one column, make it like take one column, and then this is 2 columns, and then 3, like so and so and so. But then don't let anything, this white space here is what you call the gutter. So the gutter is what I made 40. You're not supposed to like let your content sit round, like just hang in the gutter. You're not supposed to let your content fall into, let me use the word fall into the gutter. So ideally span your items grid to grid. If you want your text to take up 3 columns, let it take up 3 columns. If you want your image to take up these other columns here, let it take up these other columns. See, like this, I've been able to like achieve like a standard layout. It's a basic layout with this grid with the grid applied. So this is how you typically use the grid with arranging your design stuff. So let's just quickly get to arrange putting our own design together. The first thing I'm going to do, the first thing I think that defined the tone of my design was actually getting an image. I wanted an image that would like really sell the. I don't have like a theme. I really don't have a theme for my design. I feel like, okay, you know what, it's a design. Okay, let me create a story with my head. And I feel like this is a design agency. This website is for a design agency, and I am trying to like express that okay, the agency is like a cozy, what's it called, a cozy space and everything for creativity and everything. So I'm just trying to like use an imagery that communicates that properly. So we can actually assume that this is the agency, this is design agency's lounge area that you can just come and sit and everything. So I'm just like using trying to like create a story around my design, so that maybe when I need to explain to stakeholders or anybody, I can say, okay, you know what, this is what I thought about while I was doing design. But then for the sake of the design, it's just like freestyle that I did it for. So I think there's a website that does that very well, which is what's the name again? Balky. I showed last week again. Balky, not last week, last 2 design sessions. Balky.studio. So I'm going to copy the link again and paste it in the chat. So sorry, it is in chat. So yeah, in the chat. So there's Balky.studio, which uses that whole imagery of the design session, the design space environment to sort of the studio to communicate their communicate what they do. So once you get into the website, you can see that okay, they have like imagery of what the studio looks like. I don't think this is a studio in real life, but then something that just looks like a studio, and where you have this is where the creativity goes on. So that's the idea for this particular one. You can use any kind of imagery you want. That's entirely up to you. Whatever image you feel like it communicates your brand positioning best, you can use that. So I'm going to be using, so let me see if Sergeant has opened. Sergeant is still taking all year to load. Let me load it again while we get to work. So I'm going to be adding my image first, because my image, when I started my design, the image was what defined the typography and even the text. So I'm going to search for Unsplash in the plugin section, Unsplash, and then I think I think I searched for green room. You can use any, like I said, you can use for any image, but then for take us one, let's just use what we used for the green room. Okay. Come on. Yep. So I'll just place the green room. I think it was when I searched for green room, it was I'm trying to find a particular one I used. Although you can, like I said, you can use anyone, but I'm just trying to like walk you through how I like did it from scratch. I don't want to go back and start picking stuff from my old designs. However, if I need to, I think I will, because I don't want us to waste too much time. It's taking too much time, so let me just go and use that one. So I just searched for green room and I picked one particular image that had really good tough. Oh boy, taking time to load. Or you know what? I think this is how I can easily find it. On Splash, close interior. So once I just click interior, yeah, this particular image was the one I used. So let me just add it to my design. Anywhere in my design. So this is the image I used, and I'm going to be using for the rest of the design. So before I even add the image, let me create like a what's it called? Let me create like a where I want the image to like fit into. So I'm going to just draw a box. This is going to be for the background of the design. Draw a box that touches like that takes the full width of the desktop, and then I'm going to select make sure the box select, and then I'm going to click on the image to make the image fill the box. So yeah, it's filling the box now. However, the part of the image I want to be framed is not properly framed. So you can see that it's just showing the wall. I don't want to see. I want to see the chair instead of you. So you can click on the double click on it on the image, and then you have this option on Figma where you see fill. By default it's fill. So the fill normally gives you like good result, but this one, because the what's it called, focal content is actually at the bottom, it's not really showing, it's cropped out of view. So you're going to just go to crop, and then you can move the image as you so I'm just going to move the chair upwards into frame. Like I said, you can use any image. I'm only doing this particular process because it's this image and the focal element is at the bottom. If you're using another image that has the focal element in view, that's totally fine. So I'm just going to do this, and then next thing I'm going to be adding my content. But before I want content, I want to also turn off I want to turn off the image itself, because I feel like it's going to be distracting if I add into typography. It's going to be distracting. I'm not really going to see the layout I'm going to be using. So let's focus on layout instead. The image is there, but it's turned off. So just keep in mind. So I'm going to first of all add text. The text, let's call this one. Let's feel like this one is going to be the logo. So I'm going to be adding Southern. Call it Southern. It's probably the brand name here. Let's just go with that as it's the brand name. So Southern, and the font I'm using is Nue Montreal. I'm just calling it PP because from Panagram. So if you want to get the font, just go on Google and search for Nue Montreal. I'm going to paste the link. I'm just searching for it. Montreal. Yep. So you can get the font to actually try it. What's it called for free personal use, before personal declaration. So I think it's, yeah, you can try for free. So let me just copy the link and paste in the chat, so in case you need it. Nue Montreal, that's the name. Nue Montreal. Yep. So yeah, the link is in chat in case you need it. So I'm using Nue Montreal, and I'm going to be just what I'm going to be doing is just change from book. I'm going to be changing from book to medium. I'm going to be using the medium weight, and then I'm going to just scale it up. To scale it up, press key on your keyboard, and then you're going to get the scale option on Figma, and then I'm just going to just scale it up. I don't really have a size in mind. Scale it up. And another thing I want to do is that I want to convert it into a shape. I don't want all this extra space, all this extra spacing, because like this is a text. I can still go back and edit it, but I don't want that. I actually want it to be a shape, because if it's a shape, I have access to like fully customize it as much as I please, and also like break that part into like singular elements. So I'm just going to convert it to a shape. Just press right click, and then you see either outline, stroke, or flatten. But I prefer going for flatten, because outline stroke is just to take it turn it into a stroke. But let's do flatten. So flatten converts it into a text. So like this now, I can't edit it again. It's fully like a shape, a vector shape. So you can see what I mean by I have full access to edit it as much as I please. I can move the things around. I can break the text as much as I please. So that's basically converted it to a what's it called, to a text. But this is I only did this after I had like change the weight. So don't do this when you've not changed the weight of your font here. By weight I mean from what's it called, regular to bold or semi bold or whatever you want to do. So I've done that. I'm just going to keep it somewhere first, and then I'm going to start creating. I want to keep it somewhere. Let's put it in our design properly. So I think I'm doing monkey see, monkey do. I see a lot of modern design websites these days actually do this thing where they like have like huge typography somewhere on there, whether either at the top or at the bottom of their sites. I think Zagino does not want to open. I would have showed it. Okay, cool. So you can see Zagino, what I mean by that huge. So they have huge typography here of their brand logo. This is their brand logo. Even Kusto does it. This particular Kusto thing, they do it where they have the logo at the bottom. Zagino has theirs at the top. So we're going to have ours somewhere. I don't really know where it is. Let's put it at the bottom first, and then just work on the layout and see how it goes. So now that is done, I'm going to also start creating like other elements. So the first thing I want to do is to add text, like add what's it called? Add a hero text. So let's design for, let's just type like one full line. Design for today's world. What they call it? Is it for today's age? Yeah. Design for the new age. Yeah. Let's just use that tagline. Design for the new age. Cool. Small cap letters. Okay. So this is going to be like our, what's it called? Our hero. I don't really know what the word is, but then our hero text. Let me just use the word hero text. So let me just shrink the use the, what's it called? Let's see 56 or 40. Let's see 40 for the size. Okay. Bring it to this design. 40 is really too small. We're going to scale it up a bit. So let's just duplicate it, and then this one is going to be the body text now. So the body text, I don't really need. I want to just do lorem ipsum. I can't even start thinking too much. So just search for lorem ipsum plugin here on Figma. Lorem ipsum plugin. Okay, time is far spent, and I'm going to just create like one paragraph. Okay, paragraph 1 generates. Okay, cool. So I just need to just like tame the text, like shrinking down like this, and then I can start like making changes to myself. So the first thing I want to do is drop the size of this thing, of this body text to 18. 18 looked good on the other one, so it should look good here as well. It might look small like from this, but then if you're viewing in design, if you're viewing the design in actual view mode, it's going to be different. You're going to see the actual size of it. So let's just ignore how it looks here. So I'm going to be using, instead of medium, I'm going to be using what's it called, book instead. Book is the more regular form of the text. And also one thing I want to also mention again, when dealing with typography, like that people typically, like maybe beginners typically ignore, is actually what's it called, line height and line height and letter spacing. So there are things like typically by default it adds 0 for the letter spacing for you, and then also auto for the line height. But typically if you are familiar with the game of typography, you have to ideally go back and actually change something. Although some text are actually fine. The auto, I think this one is even fine. The auto is fine, but typically I like entry my own. For a 16 pixel text or for 18 pixel, I normally do like 135%. So you can actually type percentage there. In that place where auto is written, you can type percentage here. That's for the line height. So 135%, and then for the for the letter spacing, I normally go for minus, because typically letter spacing are always like too much. Typically for typical text, it's always like a lot. So I just want to like take one small from inside. I don't really know why I do it, but I just feel like it looks better if I do it that way. So ideally, always go back and like learn about line height. I think there's articles on it. Just go and check about best practices for letter spacing, best practices for line height and everything, and you're going to find lots of articles on it. I found articles on it and I read about it, and that's how I was able to like get better at it. So you can check about it too. So for the hero text, for the main text, we're going to like make it, let's see the other one. I don't really want to waste too much time. So 84, because the best part is actually the prototyping part. So 84 for it. Cool. So I'm going to start using auto layout. In case you're not familiar with auto layout, all these things, it might be difficult for you, but then you can do it even with auto layout. I'm just doing auto layout because it's easier for me to do it with auto layout. But then if you're not familiar with it, do it the standard what's it called, the good old fashion of using groups or frames or whatever. So I am going to make everything fill container. So don't really mind the what's it called, complexity of auto layout. If you're not familiar with it, it's okay. Do it the normal way. It doesn't affect your design. So I'm going to just make it 24. It's just for speed purpose. That's why I'm using this thing. So okay, this works. So the next thing I want to do is to tame it. Like I said, don't make your content take up like one full take up a specific amount of columns. You can see that this one is spanning into the next column, but then it's not taking the entire column. Anything that you want to take a column should not be taking it halfway. You should take it like full. Is either full all the way or nothing. So that's basically how the whole column and grid thing works. So all the way or nothing. And you can't leave it in the middle or in the gutter. You must, or outside of the grid. You must take the entire thing. So that's basically. So I want to just take 2. I think 2 is fine. Is 2 fine? Yeah, 2 is fine. So 2 is fine. And then we're going to like create our button. So duplicate this text. Call it get started. Let's call it get started. So like I said, all these things are just like what's it called, mundane stuff, and creating buttons and stuff. I don't really need to start going into the nitty-gritty of it. But then I'm going to be using, for the button, I'm going to be using like a fixed height of let's do 56. I think 56 looked okay for that one. Centralize it. So anyhow you can create it, it's totally fine. Centralize it, and then I'm going to be making it fully rounded. So here's where let me not do it first. Let's just create the layout first and then go ahead into, so like this. Don't worry about this auto layout mumbo jumbo. It's, if you're not familiar with it, it's totally fine. So I'm going to do full fill container for this one. I'm going to do hog content for this button, which is the what's it called, secondary button. Make it what's it called, let's do 24. Okay, cool, 24, fully rounded. And then I'm going to like give it a stroke. So a stroke right here. This one will have a fill because it's like the big major button. So the major button has a fill, and then the secondary button has like a what's it called, a stroke instead. So this one is going to have a fill of, let's do black. Let's just do black so you can see it. And then make this one white instead. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to make this one take fill container because it's auto layout stuff, and it's like I want to draw attention to this one, and this one is just going to be like the show. Let's just call it show reel. Show reel is basically, if you go to an agency's website, you find the show reel is like their collection of all their works, so that's just basically what show reel. Or you can use any other button there. That's what you want to see. So the spacing between them 24 is fine, and that's cool. So I have my basic layouts like this set up. I have my layout set up like this. However, I think I still want to minus from this, what's it called, from the letter spacing, because the bigger the text, the smaller you want to make the letter spacing, and also the smaller you also want to make the line heights. This one I don't really care about line height for this particular one because it's hero text and it's not going to be like long copy. But then I'm going to make the letter spacing -4. So all these things, if you read about them, you actually get more context as to why I am doing all these things, and you're going to like understand why. Sometimes there's no explanation, it just looks better, so you just go with it, and that's how it works. So yeah, PP Real Montreal. So we're cool like this, and the next thing we want to do is to now have our, oh boy, there's a lot to cover. There's a lot of ground to cover. Let's see how far we can go. So the next thing we want to do, again, it's going to be auto layout mumbo jumbo, but we're going to like have our navigation at this side instead. Have our navigation here. So home. Although people don't typically add home these days, home is added. Home. I'm going to also change from this thing to home, about. So I'm just trying to rush the content, the layout design, so we can quickly get to the animation part, because that's really the best part of things. So contact and home about contact, work. So I'm just quickly thinking of pages that what's it called, standard portfolio website, a standard agency website should have. I'm going to align the content. You can see I'm aligning them to the left. And also keep in mind, I'm going to be sharing this design like after this session. I'm going to be sharing online, so you can always go back in and poke around and see how it was made. So don't worry too much about the layout and how it was made. So navigation, you have navigation by this side, and then the text. What way are we going to have the? Okay, what else? Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, you have this and this done, and I'm going to frame them, and then I'm going to just have this extra text in the middle. I don't know why, but I just feel like it looks better. So I'm going to tame this text as well. Tame it as well. Make it okay. And then I'm going to make it auto, so it will just fit in. Cool. Okay, so you see, this is where I like what's it called, break my own rule, because about the whole don't leave things in the gutter thing. Sometimes you may have the major elements aligned with the aligned with the grid, aligned with the columns and everything, but the stuff inside of the elements inside of that grid, you can like actually you have that leeway to mess around with them, the layout a bit. So but then me personally, I want to like stick to the grid, so I just want to still tame this one, make this one like take up the grid spacing. So I'm just going to tame the grid here, tame it to the column. You can see I'm like being particular. I'm zooming in and making sure that it's on the column. Why? I don't know why, but I just feel like that's how you actually like get really refined design. So that's basically, you can see that it's taking the two column grid, so you can do it any way you can. This column, I'm going to leave this column empty. I don't need it for anything. So that's basically, we have our layout set up and like this. So what we're going to do now is going to start putting stuff together. So for this one, I want to add an auto layout, and then I want to make the top, bottom, like the padding around it 24, and then I'm going to align to the bottom and align to the left. And also I'm going to add a fill so you can see what I just did. Right. So you can see that it covers this entire area. So I'm also going to tame it here. Tame the what's it called, to layout this thing. So like, if you're not familiar with layout, you can use typical, you can use normal groups and frames. And you'll be fine. So I'm just going to turn the fill off again and carry on with the design itself. So The next thing I want to do now is merge them together in a big super auto layout group. Is that what I want to do? I want to create this one as auto layout group first. Stretch like this. So in case you're not familiar with auto layout, it's totally fine. As long as you get the layout itself, that's what matters. The auto layout thing is just like an extra superpower that makes you design faster and also more efficiently. Not just faster, more efficiently. I think that's the word. So yep, I'm going to frame them together, and also I'm going to move this stuff. I'm going to move them. What's it called? I'm going to move them. Going to add a padding. So the margin I want to actually, I don't want anything to say the margin, so I want to add a margin of what's it called, 40-40. So 40 to the left margin, 40 to the right margin. There's a margin of 40 on the left and right, and then at the top part, I want to move it 80 pixels away from the top. So yeah, you have it smack right in the middle like this. So this looks okay-ish. So we can start adding more things from here. 80, 40, cool. So the next thing I want to do, I actually want to do this rotating thing. Although I was able to replicate it here, I don't know if we have that time to do it. So this spinner thing. Let's see. So you can see that once it's here, it rolls. Basically, it's a component. I use the component. I expand this component like tons of my design. So you can also like pick it up as well. So let me just quickly show how I was able to achieve it, and you can start getting stuff together. So that one is just to tell you the user to scroll down. So that's a scroll down indicator. So I'm just going to pick out text first. So watch how I'm able to like do that stuff in case you want to learn it. So click on the text and just write scroll. So I'm going to type it all in caps, scroll down, and then I'm going to like add a I'm just going to there's this full stop, but it's not a full stop. Like it's like a it's not a full stop, but it's just like a circle, like that's supposed to be in the middle, but I can't get it. So let's just go with them. This one, scroll down. So I'm going to type it twice. I could type it once, but I feel like the results will not look that good. But let's just type it once and see. So now that it's done, I'm going to go to first of all, I'm going to run this plugin that's called the arc text. So whatever feature you're trying to, whatever thing you're trying to do in Figma, always try to go and look for try to go to the plugin section and look for it and just search for anything. You're going to find that there's actually something that does it. So remember this time I was looking for 3D. Like there's a 3D tool on. There are tons of 3D tools on Figma. So if you want to do anything, just go and search on Figma. You'll probably find you probably find a plugin that does that thing. So arc text. I think when I was searching, I just searched bend text or round text, and I just found something that worked for me. So arc text is actually this one to bend your text. So arc text, just you can see the the preview. Yeah, the word preview. So you're going to see preview. You can just play around with it and then just have different effects. So you can see why I said type it twice now. So you have one at the bottom and one at the top. So let's just do typing twice. I'm going to put a space between this first one and then type it again. Scroll down. Yep. So let's run it again. Let me see. It has not updated, so I'm going to run it again. Yeah, so like this, I'm going to now bend it. So it's not giving the way I want to give. But you know what? For time's sake, let's not dwell too much on it. So just do it something like this, as best as you want it, as closest as you want it to be. So let's do something like this: 200 and 90. Let's do 90, full 90. Oh, well, 90 didn't work. 89. It gives some very funky effects sometimes, but let's just do this 100. We're not dwelling too much on perfection now. So sometimes when you even add itself, you see that it has like some funky, like you can see that some the texts are jumbled into each other. So it's kind of buggy, but then it helps. Sometimes it helps. So I think what I can do to correct that is just to like increase the size of the group. Yeah, for some reason it works. Does it work? It doesn't work. So you know what? While you have time to mess around with that in your spare time, I can't really do that now because so I'm just going to like use that component I had prepared before. I'm just going to use it in my design. I'm going to cheat. So paste it here. Well, I'm going to show how I did it, but then I just want to just get the arc text thing. So let's get it. And I think I even did 4. Yeah, I think I did 4. That was the mistake. So I'm going to detach components. Okay. So yeah. So ideally, let's imagine that I had already used arc text to get this feature. So like I said, this was the circle thing I was talking about. This I don't know what it's not a circle, it's not a full stop, but then it's just like this what's it called? This thing. So I added it to mine, and then I had this like scroll more. I think I did like 4 times. I typed scroll more 4 times, and then just give it like this really nice arc text. So type yours in case you're trying. Type yours 4 times. Like put space between them. Scroll down, space. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, like 4 times, and it's going to like give you like something like that looks as okay as this. So once you have this done, you're going to like have you can increase it to any size you want. You can scale it, so you can use scale to scale, and then scale it to any size you want. So this size is okay for me, so I'm going to just create like a component, a quick component. So create a component, create second version of it, and then rotate this one 360. I don't think Figma has 360 rotation. I don't think it has. So it has 90-degree rotation, rotate another 90 plus 90-degree again. Is it plus? Am I supposed to plus? Just rotate it left again. Okay, and then this one again. So you can see I'm just like rotating like I think 90-degree for each one until I get back to the, what's it called, 0. So this first one is 0. This one is minus 90-degree. This one is 180-degree, and then this one is 90. Figma does not have like 360 for some weird reason. So I'm going to rotate again. Yeah, so this one is 0 now. Although I don't think I need 0. I don't think I need 0. Since this is 0, I can just like switch back to this one. Can just jump back to place, so it's fine. You can delete that second. So we have the first one that's 0. The rotation is 0. The next one that the rotation is what's it called, minus 90. This next one that the rotation is 180, and then this last one that the rotation is 90 degrees. So we're just going to link all of them together. Before we link them, just mark all of them like this, and then create component set. So create component set. Why did it not work? Create component set. Yep. So now this is done. You can now link them together with them. Go to prototype mode, and then link this one to this one. Change it from on click to after delay. Change the after delay time, the time in the after delay to 0 or 1 millisecond, and then change the this thing to smart animate. So smart animate should animate smartly to this other one, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to make it linear. So this is even easier, make it linear. So I think 300. Let's just do 300 fine. 300 fine. Oh, let's do 300 then. Or let's do 500 for posterity's sake. I don't know if it's going to look good, but 500. So it takes 500 milliseconds for it to change for it to rotate from this one to this one. Then this one is going to rotate from here to this one, the same 500 milliseconds as well. However, you need to change the trigger from on click. By default it's on click for some reason, so you have to change it to after delay, so that it doesn't, like, you don't have to touch it before it changes. So this one also from here to here, and after delay as well, change it to 0, so it doesn't, you won't notice the delay as is. And then change this one, move this one, link this one back to the first one after delay as well, 0 for the time, and then linear, then smart animate linear, and then 500 milliseconds. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing this file, so in case you miss out on this stuff, you can always come back to the file and dig through to get it. And if you can't get it from the file, you can always watch the recap on YouTube and then get the hang of it. So now that's done, I'm going to just copy this thing and place it in my design, and then play and see. Let's see how it goes. So I'm going to play Ctrl V, just move it to the center of my design, so you can see I'm not properly structuring. Just move it to the center of my design, press play. Z. Oh, I know why I have been having this issue since now. Yeah, I was using so it's 10. So I'm going to shrink my frame. My frame is too big. I have been using like a larger frame size than normal since I didn't notice. I was using 1080 by 1080 by 920 by 1080, not 1440 by 810. So yeah, I just fixed that just now. So I'm just trying to correct other elements to be in line with the sort of this thing we have. So you don't have to, this part you don't have to worry about it. Film container, okay. Yep. Then okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's good now. No wonder I was looking too big. Fill container. Yep. Then this part is not part of it. This is just because I made a mistake from the beginning. I was using a frame that was too large to begin with. Yeah, so you can see now it looks more coherent. So yeah, let's see. It's not going to work because I have tampered with the frame. So let me just reload it and let's see how it works. So that thing ideally should be rolling, like it should be rolling round and round and round. But for some some reason it's not rolling. So let's see what the error is. It's supposed to move from here. That delay. Why is it not working? Linear. Smart animate. Okay. Let me copy again and paste. Well, did I make a mistake here? So I'm just trying to like find the error that could possibly be causing this thing not to work. However, it should work. It should work. So play. They're going to play again. But while that is, that should not waste our time too much. So while I'm trying to figure that one out, I'm also going to create this arrow. So this arrow, if you notice, okay, you didn't notice, but ideally the arrow is actually like pointing down. Let me just play as well so you can see. You can see that the arrow is actually pointing down. So the arrow is actually supposed to be a component on its own. Because of time again, I'm going to have time to like really create the arrow how I did it. Just grab any arrow and then have a detach. I'm going to on group. Sorry, 1 second. Detach instance, okay. So I'm going to have an arrow I'm going to have an arrow, and then I'm going to frame it. So I'm going to frame it and make the frame like a square. So this by default the arrow dimension is actually, so I framed it. I've framed it, and I'm going to right click and then frame selection. So I'm going to make the confine the height of the square to the multiple rectangle of the frame to like be a square. So 25, and then what I want to do is to have a version, a circle, have a duplicate of it, and then this duplicate you have the arrow. Maybe let's say it moves the arrow is down a bit, and here it's up a bit. So yeah, you have these two frames. So you have these two frames, and then you're going to group them, and then select them, and then create component sets. So in this component 1, which is frame 11, it's called frame 11. I am going to link it with this other one. Okay. I'm going to link this other one, and then I'm going to make it what's it called after delay, and then 0. Okay, 500 milliseconds. Okay, and then I think maybe the issue is actually that 500 milliseconds is too much. So let's do 100. Okay, let's do 100. Okay, and then this one moves to this one, 100 milliseconds as well. From on click, change to after delay, and then set the time to 0. So I'm just going to copy one of them and then paste in the design somewhere. So let me move it to the center to be sure it's working. Just want to test that it's working. For some reason, all the components I seem to be creating today are not working as I want them to work. That's a shame. But yeah, let's not spend too much time on that. It should work. Ideally, it should work. But Figma is just proving stubborn today. So let me reload and see if it works. Because if this is not working, I wonder how the big ones are going to actually. Okay, yeah. So you can see that the arrow is actually like moving like back and forth. So what it means is that we should actually like increase the time, the duration that it takes to change from one state to the other. So we're just going to just come here and then change it from 100 to, let's say, something like 500. Let's do 500 now, and then change your down one to 500 as well. So it's not that fast again. So you can see it's slower now. It moves slower, and then it moves at a linear pace. Yeah, so linear pace. So I think that's fine. However, if I want to like do it personally, I would probably increase the time even more from 500 to 800 because I feel like it's still too fast. I don't know why this one is not moving. It should be rolling round and round and round, but for some reason it's not working. So let's not dwell too much. Group 3, group 4, group 5, group 6, it should work, but it's not. So the next thing I'm going to do, just ideally what I would do is just to get these two elements, this this component, and then mark them together, and then I'm going to make sure I'm centralizing this one inside of this component. Centralize it. Now these components, okay, group them first. Align center, align vertical. Okay, yeah, and then I'm going to now press Ctrl G, and then call this my roller. Let me just call it roller elements. So ideally any design I slap this stuff into is supposed to like just work out of the box. So this is a group of components on its own that's supposed to work any design. That's the one I've been using is still the same one I've been using from other designs. So let's see if it even works here as well. Refresh. So while that is working, let's bring back our image. So remember our image was in this design, so I'm going to bring it back now. And when I bring it back, I'm going to start adding colors to my stuff, because so far so good I've been using black and white. Let me turn it off first. See, this thing works now. So you can see that the arrow is actually moving, but then the rotation is not working, and I can't really have that time to like sort it out now. But that's totally fine. That's totally fine. So ideally, I'm going to drop it somewhere here. Autola is going to mess up my design, but I will address it in a moment. Drop it here, and then move it down a bit. Down a bit. So I want to actually align. Ideally, I want to align it like in the middle of this what's it called? This one doesn't need to touch end to end. It should just be in the middle of this what's it called? In the middle of this column. What I can do to get that is actually just to press. Okay, what I'm going to do is actually just to, before I even do that, let's add our image. So image first. Image. Yep. So where's the image? I'm going to shrink it down to fit the design. Yeah. So like this now, I can now add a frame. I can now add what's it called, a background to my to this bottom element. So add the background, make it white, not white per se. So now I'm going to like start picking my colors. Now for this particular design, I'm using the image as my source of color choice. So I'm going to use like this green, this sort of green from this from the general green here. So I can just press what's it called, add a rectangle here, and then use my color picker to select one of the green, either the green or this dark green here. So I'm going to use this dark green here, this one. So select this dark green, and then probably select I'm going to just pick, like, get a white version of it. So the white version, I'm not going to be using full white. I'm going to just open my color picker on this with this color selected, and then just slide to the white section of the color here to select this color as well. So you see, still has like some what's it called, some tint of that green. It's not just pure white, so it has a white that actually like goes with this thing. So I'm going to be using that white for my design. So the color code is EFF2F1. You can use whatever color you're using, as long as it's on this color scale. That's totally fine. So I'm going to use this green for my main brand color. So what I want to do to change my color globally, I can just select the frame, and then you see all the colors I've used for design here. This is 000. So the 001, the one that has 00, I want to change to white. So the ones that are black, I want to change to white. So you just want to select the black here, and then come and pick this white here. So you can see everything has changed. All the white, all the ones that have white have changed. And then the ones that have FFF, that's white, I want to change them to that green. So select the green, and you can see that this one that was white before is now that particular green I have. So this red one, I want it to be white as well. So I'm going to select that white. I'm not going to color just with this bright version of the green. So I'm going to select it, and then okay, for the green as well, I can now select it and go and click on the image, on the logo, and then change it to that green. So select that green. Use color picker, select this green here. So cool. So with that out of the way, the next thing I'm going to do is that from the image, from the designer, I can notice that these texts are unreadable. So what I want to do is add an overlay to my image. That's pretty easy. Just click on the image selected now. So I'm going to just press add overlay. It's going to add a black overlay for me. So you can see that you can see the text even more. But me personally, I think I increase the overlay to even like what's it called, so like 40 or so. So it's even dark. I give like this more intense look. So although I can do 30 sharp, because I feel like 40 is too dark. So 30 is fine. So you can see the text and it still looks okay. Another thing I want to also do is to now also still go back to the image and then change the crop section, because the way it is now, so this is all part of like small details I noticed. You can see that the text, the chairs are like they are too covered by this stuff. So I want them to actually be more in view. The chair and the table to be more in view. So I'm just going to move it up a bit. And yeah, you can see, I can't explain it, but just transform this design to just look even, to just feel, to just be the way I want it to be. That's how I can best explain it. So once that is done, this roller text now, I want to now like give it like a extra background. So I'm going to frame it. And then give like a padding of let's do 24, and then 24. Okay. And then make it fill. So for the fill, I'm going to select that particular white I have been using since, and then change from hot content, okay, and then make it fully rounded. No. Okay, yeah. So you have this rounded stuff. Yeah, ideally, like I said, this thing should be rolling, but for some reason it's not cooperating, so we don't really have time to go back and start adjusting. However, this component is actually set up correctly. But if I had to go back inside and check very well, probably see what is wrong with it, but I don't have that time. So yeah, now the design is done. The design part is done. Let's just quickly do like how it's supposed to like animate into the. I thought there was going to be time, but time is fast spent. We only have like really short time left. So that design part is done. We're just going to like do like a basic animation for this stuff. So we're going to do this one first. So for this one first, I'm going to just bring the component out. This the frame that contains this logo, I'm going to bring it out first. I'm going to bring it out first, and then I'm going to press clip content. So to clip the content outside of it, and then I'm going to grab the logo. The logo is basically this asterisk. I just went to Lucid icons. Lucid. It's basically an asterisk. Although I can use text. Should I use text? Should I bother? Ugh. So I just search for what's it called? Come on. Asterisk. Okay, yeah. So this was the asterisk I just used. I just scale it up with Ctrl X, paste here, and then I'm going to scale it up with K, and then just scale it up like this. Click inside and then change it to sharp code, because I like the text typography I'm using doesn't have rounded corners, so I want to also match the logo with the typography as well. Just change the corners to the ends to fully to not rounded, and then I'm going to just group all the text, group all of them. No, not group all of them. The frame that it comes inside, it comes out of a frame. I'm just going to press this option, resize to fit, so it actually resizes to fit the actual frame itself. So that's basically it, and then I can now change the color to be that's my brand green. Although I could create color styles, but I don't have that time. So copy that brand green, and then I'm going to shrink it down to, let's still shrink it down. Okay, I'm going to shrink it down just to match the size of this thing. Then I'm going to just place it inside the design. So duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this. Oh boy. Get this context. Okay, so you have it like this, and then I'm going to like centralize it just to have it like more aligned. So you have this like, so ideally you're just supposed to like scroll sideways. So I'm going to just select this text and the logo, or what's it called, group them together. Let me use the word group, and then let me unclip content, and then I'm going to duplicate it. So you can see that, okay, like just create like this chain of what's it called, this chain of southern. So that's just basically what you want to have. As well, I want to space them apart a bit. So the spacing should just be something like let's do, spacing should be something like 24, okay, and 40. Okay, I'm using 40, spacing of 40. Yeah, so I'm just going to now what I'm going to do, you can see that this frame is actually like the size of the it's fixed. And the fixed size is actually the size of the desktop frame we are designing for. So 1440. So I'm just going to clip content to get rid of this other stuff that's outside of it. So clip content, and then I'm going to create a second version of it. In second version, I'm going to centralize it. Press, okay, since I'm using auto layout, I'm just centralize. But if you're using normal frame, frame, you can just like use keyboard to move it to the center. So I'm going to create like a third version of it, and then I'm going to like align the auto layout to the right. So you have like a beginning state, center state, and then end state. So what I'm going to do is just to select all this stuff, and then I'm going to create component set, and then this component sets, I'm going to like prototype them. So our time is almost up. Let me just quickly do this, and I think that will be all for today. I'm going to like do a full video on each. So link this one to this one, make it what's it called, after delay 0. Make the what's it called, smart animates here, linear 500. Okay, 500. No, I want to make it like a big number, because when I actually big stuff, so we want to make it like a big number. So let me do 10,000. In fact, let's do the max. Yeah, 10,000 milliseconds. Then this one to this one again. I'm going to do it to what's it called, 10,000 milliseconds after delay 0. Okay, cool. So that there's no delay. And then from this one to this one, it should just jump from here. It should jump from here to that one. So the what's it called? It's not going to be after. It's going to be after. No, it's going to be instant. Is it? No, yeah, it's going to be instant. So instant is it, what's it going to be? Instant after the after delay, then navigate to navigate to then instant. Yeah, so it just snaps to that one, then it just starts all over. The animation starts all over again. So that's basically how it's supposed to be after delay 0. Okay, so copy this one now, and then use to replace. So paste, select on this old one, and then paste to replace. So paste to place. Yep. So let me play it now, and then let's see how it works. Let's see how it works. Ideally, it should just have like this scrolling animation, but let's see if that works. See if that works. Figma is going to embarrass me. But yeah, I think that's as much as we can cover this night. Time is almost up, but let's see if so yeah, you can see that this thing just keeps scrolling, and then this arrow is also pointing that ideally the text should be rotating as well. I'm going to figure out why it's not rotating, and then I'm going to sort it out. But yeah, you can see how we're really able to like achieve like some add some like elements of motion to our website as well. If I were to go further with it, what I would what I want to do is like the loading animation, how it goes from this what's it called, this screen here, this loading screen here to this screen. But like I said, I'm going to like do a separate video, like a separate video tutorial on it, and you're going to like just see that during the week. Typically videos normally come out like on Sunday. I normally post recordings on Sunday or so. So just be patient and I will get it across to you. So that's as much as we can. Unfortunately, that's as much as we can achieve for tonight. But definitely, what's it called, in the coming designs, we're going to like focus on really knowing how to like use animations and stuff in our designs. So yeah, that's that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask now. If not, we're done. Like I said, I'm going to share this file online. So let me even share it now. So let me share the link to it in the chat so you can have access to poke around. And I'm also going to share it on Twitter as well, so you can have access to poke around with it. But you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you all for coming, and I really appreciate your time. And it means a lot to me that you show up every Friday. Do this every Friday, so be sure to come here next week. So that's as much as we can do today. I will share it on Twitter, and thank you all for coming once again. See you next week. Bye.